8 people were killed when riots.
Good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream for your Monday, July 7th, 2025. I'm Ken Lundberg, and here with me in the studio this morning is none other than Al Pscholka.
Hey, great to be here. And
Budget Director, former state representative, Lake Michigan College, and voice of the Lakeshore Lancers football.
Yeah. 34th season coming up in August.
Good morning.
Like, boy, we cannot get rid of this guy.
Thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.
It's great to be here after a holiday weekend.
Yeah, how was your holiday?
You know, my holiday was a little bit different. I did a lot of yard work.
Okay.
It is time always for me to, whenever it's like Veterans Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day, it's a good time to reflect. It's a good time to read.
Yeah.
I know this is going to sound weird. I visit cemetery and just kind of walk around and especially value the folks that have served in our military. Makes me think about my grandparents. Downstairs at my house, I have my grandfather's World War I helmet.
Oh.
Next to that, and it's just a piece of iron with a leather strap.
Wow.
Right? And then is his Saginaw Fire Department helmet.
Oh, man.
It says Pipe Man number 4. And then inside it says Henry Krause on it. So it just makes me reflect upon what he had to go through from World War I, living through the Depression, all of the other things that happened, his kids going to World War II.
Yeah.
And here we are, sometimes fighting about stuff that is not quite as important.
Wait a second. TikTok's going to develop a new app, so I get TikTok. I won't be without TikTok. That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. The gravity of that.
Yeah. And
that's really cool.
Yeah. So it made me think about him and my grandmother, who I spent a lot of time with. And my grandfather was a very simple guy. And he reminded me a lot of ways, folks here locally, of Harry Gast.
Yeah.
You know, so he had a little apple farm after he retired from the fire department. And I spent a lot of time there and lived with my grandparents for a while. And I was always the favorite of my grandmother. And I don't think my grandfather knew that when I came over to cut the grass, and he made sure that every single blade around that garage and around those flower beds were cut, my grandmother was paying me twice as much as he thought.
Oh,
but I was not allowed to tell him that. Right. So he was really a great guy who basically said, don't spend more than you take in and leave things better than you found it.
Yeah.
And he was just a very proud American who had come over from Germany and that kind of stuck with me this year. My wife was traveling, so I had a lot of time on my own. So besides the yard work and the reading, that's kind of what I did.
What'd you read?
I'm reading In the Pursuit of Happiness, which is not an easy read.
Okay.
It's by Jeffrey Rosen, and it focuses on how the classical writers kind of influenced the founding fathers.
Oh.
And when you think about the founding fathers, what they were really trying to communicate is it's lifelong virtue. It's not just in the present pleasure, right? It's living a life of lifetime, a long lifetime of virtue, instead of focusing on just a single thing that might make you mad. And I think that's where we are today, right? Yeah. We're so divided politically. We've become kind of tribal, and we allow these things to divide us.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to get back to some of that old school thinking of what the country was really founded about. And I think it was kind of cool this weekend. I did see some of the stuff that we're going to be celebrating our 250th anniversary. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But let's do it the right way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to talk about that. I'm glad you talked about that. It's fascinating you're reading that. I wonder if it's a coincidence or not, because they're talking about third political parties. Yeah. Maybe we'll touch that here in a few moments. After news and after sports and all that, it's right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Welcome, Al Pscholka, co-host for today on WSJ's Morning Show.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
We timed that right. We came right out of ABC News. No, I mean, if you're not on the video live stream already, you're missing out because I've got Al Pscholka here. And we were
He's got a little bit of an attitude today.
No, he woke up salty, and he's bringing that to the discussion today. No. It's very good to have former state representative, former budget director for the state of Michigan. So we've got some numbers to talk about in the news here in a second. Feel free to weigh in as we go along.
We need to get the budget done too, guys.
Yeah, what is with the budget? We should talk about that. I'll get you started. We'll talk with Al Pscholka all hour long. You can hear it here on the radio. You can see it on the video live stream. Chime in with your comments if you feel like it. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to do that. You can watch it. You can hear it on our WSJM Smart app. Let's see, what do we have? Is it raining out there?
Not now. No.
Okay. Misting, spitting?
Nope.
Just wet roads.
Just wet roads.
Okay. And be careful because we've had such mostly dry conditions. I mean, we have a breakout shower every now and again, but with all the travel this weekend and all the grit and grime on the roadways, a little bit of moisture like this could make it very slippery. So do be careful out there around the corners, especially. Benton Harbor, 70 degrees and cloudy, 71 in St. Joseph with cloudy skies, 68 and cloudy in South Haven. We're going to have a partly cloudy day, just a 20% chance of showers hanging around, a high around 80, wind out of the north, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, keeping it cool, partly cloudy evening with 63 degrees for our low, still light winds out of the north. And then Tuesday, they swing around. The wind is going to come out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour, raising our temperatures up to around 85 degrees inland, a little cooler by the lake, hopefully. Wednesday's forecast, Thursday's forecast, Friday, partly cloudy all days, chance of rain, chance of storms on Wednesday, and highs probably around 85, 86 degrees. All right, some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom this morning. Benton Harbor area schools heading into the next school year with a budget deficit that anticipates transferring about $7.5 million out of the general fund to balance the budget so they can operate. The Board of Education in late June held a hearing to go over the next budget. Then Superintendent Kelvin Butts told trustees the spending plan anticipates expenditures of around $31.8 million. Unfortunately, they only have revenues of $24.4 million. However, board president Deshauna Robinson said that might create a misleading narrative.
You may see media reports that indicate that we're 7.4 million in the red, similarly to how they did recently with Lakeshore Public Schools. So that narrative will be out there. But like you all said, it's important for the public to understand that just means that we are taking that 7.4 from general fund and essentially spending more than we're receiving in that particular year. But it does not mean that we are broke.
Then Superintendent Kelvin Butts said the district has a fund balance of $24.8 million right now, giving it some room to maneuver.
Benton Harbor has a huge fund balance. We have money in the bank. We have a structural imbalance, which means our expenditures exceed our revenues. At this present time.
The now former superintendent stressed the difference between a structural deficit and a general fund deficit. He said the district will have to make adjustments moving forward to right the balance on the structural side, possibly by attracting more students. Trustees were also told the district has total assets of about $45 million. Any context there that we need to understand?
Both things can be right, but Superintendent Butts raises a very good point. What you're doing is you're using your rainy day fund, you're using your savings account for general operating expenses. So when you do that, using one-time money for ongoing expenses, eventually you run out of money.
Yeah.
So
especially at that rate, right?
You haven't right-sized the budget in order to be in balance. So he's correct. There is a structural imbalance there. Same thing at Lakeshore, where there was a structural imbalance. If you're going to use your reserves, reserves are there for a reason.
Right.
It is called the rainy day fund. It is certainly raining, and you can use it, but ongoing, that is not a good. That's not a good policy to be in. State of Michigan found themselves doing the same thing back in the Granholm administration, and what happened is they eventually ran out of general fund money, and the general fund was in deficit by about $1.5 billion when I was elected back in 2011. That's what we walked into. But what had happened was. Federal money had run out, or they were using federal money, the Obama bucks, to pay for ongoing regular expenses. And when the Obama bucks stopped, they had a huge deficit, and you force yourself into this financial cliff. So be careful. Yes, using rainy day funds for a year if things were a little squirrely or out of balance, okay. But if there is a structural imbalance, then you're looking for a bigger problem down the road. You've kind of punted it down to the next year. And what are you going to take out of reserves next year?
Right.
There's 20, I think you said 24
yeah.
million. So you're burning through 7 a year. In 3 or 4 years, you're looking at being not only in deficit, but in debt.
Yeah. And if you have a structural problem and you don't see the students joining your population, which that has not been the case for many years, then you've probably got to do some structural evaluation of what's your outlay, and is it making sense for what we're operating.
Yeah, and you're looking at a situation where 2/3 of the students in Benton Harbor are not in Benton Harbor area schools. That's really what is creating the structural imbalance, is between charters, school of choice. Parents have left the district and have not returned.
Yeah. Any of this caused by the infusions of cash during the COVID era?
Yes, I think it's made us. There's a lot of money sloshing around.
Yeah.
So I mean, Benton Harbor had their debt retired by the state of Michigan.
$12 million.
They've got federal money that they're using as their reserves, and now they're starting to cut into that. That's not a great financial practice, and I'm not here to pick on anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying we've seen it with the state of Michigan. We've seen it with other municipalities, that as you dip into your rainy day funds and you burn them up, what are you going to do about ongoing expenses, general revenues? So it's really not general fund. You're using reserve funds in order to balance this year's budget.
Got it.
So she's right too. Deshawn is right too. They're not broke. They're not. They still have $17 million in the bank, but they just used $7 million of it for 1 year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Okay. Thanks for the context on that. Other news that we're following: the Michigan Department of Transportation will begin preventative maintenance today on 10 bridges in Van Buren County, 8 on I-196 and 2 on M140. This affects both directions of the business loop over I-196, M43 over Deer Lick Creek, M140 over I-196, and the bridges over 20th, 32nd, and 44th Avenues. You'll know where it is. Drivers should expect intermittent single-lane closures with traffic flags in areas between now and the end of September. So they're going to be doing some healthy projects on those. The project cost is healthy as well, $588,000. MDOT officials say the work will repair and preserve the bridges, extending their service lives and improving safety. And one more note: the Michigan Department of Transportation is holding its second annual Career Fest this month to help workers interested in job openings with the agency learn more and apply. MDOT Recruitment Manager James Foltz tells us there will be both an in-person event and an online event. He says there are plenty of jobs available at MDOT.
Anywhere from 20 to 40 different openings at any given time. And those range from, engineers, electricians, maintenance workers, one that we're ramping up for our winter hiring. So each year we hire around 100 seasonal plow drivers.
Foltz says MDOT is ramping up recruitment for those winter hires in Southwest Michigan right now. Since the in-person job fair will be in Lansing, we asked about a virtual component.
The virtual component, it's really just like a regular career fair. You'll come in and see virtual booths, you'll get in line, and then as people are available, you get connected and just have a quick conversation about different careers available.
With more than 100 career classifications represented, those who attend the fair will meet MDOT staff, explore career paths, and learn about those open positions and qualifications. Foltz says last year's Career Fest attracted about 300 to 400 people, some of whom now work for MDOT. The events will be July 22nd and 23rd, with the virtual event on the 23rd, and registration is encouraged. We have a link for more information at our website. That's WSJM.com. Okay, we've got to get to sports. Dave Wolf has the latest. We'll be on the video live stream here in just a moment. It is the WSJM Morning Show.
Trey Sweeney and Riley Green Holborn during the Tigers' 6-run 10th.
All right, I'm looking at our live stream here. John Hawkins says he can't hear anything. Can others hear stuff? Because I got a bunch of good mornings on here, but I don't. Let's see. John says he can't hear anything. Dun, dun, dun.
You missed a lot, John.
Yeah, you missed a lot.
You missed a lot.
Okay. Let me make sure this is all good. Diane says good morning to Ken and Al, too. Bill says good morning. All right. Oh, Diane says she hears. Okay, we're good to go. All right, so John, just you can't hear me, but my advice to you is take the mute off. Yeah, turn up your speakers. We love John. He's in Tennessee. He listens to us every day.
That's great.
Al, thanks for joining us, and we appreciate the context on the Benton Harbor schools. And that is not unique to Benton Harbor. As Deshauna Robinson mentioned, Lakeshore is suffering some of those structural issues as well. I mean, is it as simple as what a lot of people say is the federal government when they pump up budgets with these cash infusions, it creates a false sense of, hey, this is what we have to work with. And then so how do you as an administrator, as a school official, as a board member, how do you account for these things? How do you make sure that you're not pumping it up so that all of a sudden you're going off a financial cliff?
So you've got to separate ongoing expenses from one-time expenses. And so when you get an infusion of cash, it's always good, Ken, to use that maybe for a capital project, for a special need that's been out there. But if you take that infusion of cash and
hire people
and put it in general operations, you are going to create a cliff that's going to come very quickly once that infusion of cash is gone. Yeah. The problem for our school districts, they get kind of a double whammy here, is they get paid per student.
Right.
So as our families shrink, as we continue to not have great birth rates, which I've seen in the U.S. is low now as 1.6. We're not even replacing the labor that we're going to need in the future.
Yikes.
And if you look at school districts in Southwest Michigan, we've got 15 public school districts and a declining population, and you're paid by the student. So the per pupil foundation grant is per student. I think it's $9,600 this year. They're looking at moving that up a little bit. But man, if you're losing enrollment, this is the result. You're going to have to come back and really sharpen your pencil and tighten your belt in order to make it work. And if you don't, you're dipping into reserves. How many years can you dip into reserves? That becomes the balance and the question that districts are going to have, municipalities are going to have going forward.
I mean, in Benton Harbor's case, they've got $24 million in the reserve, which surprised me because the state retired $12 million of their debt a couple of years. Was it last year?
Yeah.
Last year, I think. And they're running into financial problems on an ongoing basis. If you've got $24 million in reserve and you take a third of that
right
for 1 year expenses, you're right. The burn rate on that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're going to be in trouble quick.
Now, if it was $1 million and you got 24 million, okay, then, maybe you can right the ship. There's some changes you can make. There's some things you can do with staffing and other things to get that thing into balance. Yeah. But 7 that's a big chunk to come in and just to stay balanced for 1 year.
Yeah.
And so that's what districts are struggling with. So this demographic drought, we call it, hits a lot of different things. And whether it's workforce or a tight labor supply or declining school enrollment. And in our corner of the state, a lot of us have talked about this for a long time. We're getting a little bit older. We're getting a little bit smaller. And that's kind of the consequences of getting older and smaller.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Happy Monday.
Temperatures right around 80. With the wind out of the north and northwest, we'll see big waves developing through the morning hours. A high risk of rip currents. You'll see red flags at the beaches today. 63 overnight tonight, and tomorrow partly sunny. Chance of rain late in the day with a high of 85. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:19, it's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg in the WSJM studios, along with Al Pscholka, who's here. He's decided to grace us with his presence on this fine Monday morning. Al, thank you for coming in. We appreciate you.
I think you gave me the choice between Monday or what, Friday?
Friday, yeah, Monday or Friday.
And I said, well, we're coming off a holiday weekend. We probably have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's go Monday.
Yeah, so a ton of stuff. And as I mentioned, I took 10,000 steps yesterday.
Good.
Because for faithful listeners of the WSJM Morning Show, you'll know that I had a foot injury Who knows what caused it? Probably just too much walking around and in the wrong way. Like in January. Here it is, July now, and I was able to take 10,000 steps yesterday, just doing normal walking.
Yeah.
I felt it. Yeah. I went to bed and I had to take a couple of, anti-inflammatories, but it's doing well. But I had no inkling a foot injury could just hobble you so much.
Oh yeah.
In that kind of way.
Foot or your back.
Yeah.
Right?
Back's
So
horrible.
that makes it difficult. But
Yeah.
I try to get my 10,000 in. Now my wife has informed me that I need, at my advanced age, that I need to start, and I think she's right.
Bless her.
If she's listening, you're right, honey, that I need to lift weights again.
Oh,
And just to
keep that muscle mass going.
to keep the muscle tone.
Yeah.
And I think she's right. And her and my daughter do lift. We've got a little
Okay.
weight bench downstairs. I
Wow.
look at it all the time, but I just have not been able to get started.
You know what?
So,
Here's how to do that. Start by making it your responsibility to do the maintenance on that workbench. Every day you have to go down there and dust it or polish the vinyl and that kind of stuff.
And even
And
if
then
I just-
eventually
yeah,
you're just
I
like,
mean-
oh, I got to move these weights over here, move these weights over
even
here.
if I just did a couple sets of curls or something,
Yeah.
it probably makes sense.
That's a good
I'm
idea.
I'm at that age where, okay, I'm in my mid 60s. What am I going to look like in my mid 70s if I
Yeah.
don't do this, right?
Yeah.
It's all going to catch up to us.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah. Especially with AI, we're all going to live forever. Right there. 7:22, and it's the WSJM morning show. One of the things that we saw over the weekend, Elon Musk says he's carrying out his threat to form a new political party after his rows with Donald Trump, President Trump, announcing the America Party. Now, it's Independence Day. It's 4th of July weekend. Why
Sure.
not? Elon Musk says, hey, I've got a third party solution. Everyone who wants to go with me, let's go. What do you think?
Well, there's a thicket of stuff that maybe Mr. Musk hasn't thought about, but there's 50 different rules in 50 different states
Ah,
and ballot access
Yeah.
and how you get that. And then they're not going to make it easy, right? And these are the traditional parties
Yeah.
in each of the 50 states have set up rules and regulations to make it very tough. And think about it this way. How long has the Green Party and the Libertarians
oh, yeah.
been struggling to form that third party and getting ballot access, getting enough people? I
Mhm.
think just to get to form a party in California, I read it takes 11 million signatures.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
then you have to get 2% in statewide elections in order to continue to have ballot access to be a political party.
Wow.
So he's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think 350 billion.
Yeah.
How much of it does he want to use in litigation and organizing and trying to do all 50 states, or is he going to cherry pick maybe one or two states and certain races? That might be a viable way to do a third party. I think he's talked about, well, we only need to move 9 or 10 seats in Congress
Yeah.
and 3 or 4 seats in the Senate,
Yeah.
right? So
I mean, but beyond all the legal hurdles you would
there's
have
a
to go
bigger issue
through,
here, though.
there's the one thing. Let's talk about. I mean,
Yeah.
what are the principles of the party?
Well,
And I mean, I know what they're against, or at least Elon. I know what Elon's against, and he didn't like the big beautiful bill that is now law. Got signed over the 4th of
Right.
July holiday weekend. But I mean, you raise a really good point. A lot of people probably don't think about the other parties, the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, all the other parties that are registered.
Yeah.
You don't think about those until November, and you see them on the ballot, and you go, "Oh, I wonder who that person is."
right.
And it's engineered by design from the parties to keep it a two-party system.
Because each state makes those rules and those regulations, and both of the parties are the ones influencing those laws.
That's right.
And so it is extremely difficult to do. Not saying it's impossible, but it's really, really hard to do.
And they
But
don't.
I think the issue is something else here, and
Yeah.
I think it is the fact that we have become so hyper partisan that we don't listen to each other.
What?
And yeah, I think that is the bigger issue
Yeah.
than do we have another? Here would be my question for Mr. Musk if I ever got the opportunity. How will this make it better? How will this make it less divisive? How will this bring a better sense of unity? Having a third party or a fourth party or a fifth party. I think we have lost the ability, number one, to listen to each other. Number two, the civility has gone way down. And I blame, I'm going to grab my phone. I blame this thing. I really do. I think this has a lot to do with it.
How so?
I think social media has a lot to do with it because, Ken, we are looking for instantaneous information. We want stuff right now. We're not going to sit back and study and read and listen to formulate opinions, to find common ground. It just doesn't happen. Everything is instantaneous. If you're not for us, you're against us. And we get into this tribal situation where nobody listens to one another. I mean, I noticed it toward the end of my service in Lansing, but I go back to the first 4 or 5 years I was in the legislature. Listen, I passed a budget for the school aid fund with 99 votes. And we passed a budget with the general fund of 79 votes. I mean, and it takes 56.
Yeah.
So there was common ground. There was some give and take. There was conversation between Republicans and Democrats. Let's come up with something we can all live with. And I just don't see that anymore. Now it is all or nothing. You're either all right or all wrong. And that has led to where we are politically today, which I don't think is a good situation. And I think we do need to try to fix it. And it's going to take both sides opening their ears and listening a little bit, because the aspirations are the same. It's how we get there is where we differ. And I think between social media and this, we've done ourselves a disservice.
I mean, the social media, you talk about the smartphones and the instant gratification of getting information and the ability that it really gives anyone and everyone a platform. Anyone and everyone has a platform to get out into any of these different forms and say what they think. But doesn't that also say these thoughts have always been out there? It's just more people have a way to express them.
Well, you used an interesting term in our conversation here earlier. You said context.
Right.
That's what we're losing, is the context. So when we were talking about school budgets, we talked about, we need to put this into context.
Here's the headline, but what's the context? What's really driving this?
And guess what, Ken? It took us 3 or 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
To actually provide some context, not even probably all that we should,
right?
But to provide some context to that topic. So think about all of the topics and all of the issues and all the things that are out there that we just simply react to.
Right.
And we're reacting, and it's emotional, and we haven't spent the time to take a step back and think about it and study and learn and understand the other side. And I used to tell lobbyists this all the time. I said, listen, I want to hear from you, but here's what separates a good lobbyist from a bad lobbyist. The good lobbyist will tell me both sides of the issue,
right,
so that I can make an informed choice.
Yep.
The bad lobbyist just comes in and twists your arm and advocates, and he, just in your face.
And by the way, the same is true for government staff.
And threaten you.
And threaten. Well, maybe not
stuff.
that part.
Well, I mean, like, well,
yeah.
And I go back to my second day in the legislature, and we had a bill that would repeal the helmet law for motorcycles. And it was a Republican-led initiative. And the guys from the repeal group called ABATE came into my office, and they said, well, you're a yes on repealing the helmet law, right? And I said, no, I'm a hard no.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to talk to my friend, Dr. Edwards, and some other folks in the medical community where I come from that think repealing the helmet law is a really bad idea. Now, if you can come up with a way that all of us don't pay for your head injury, maybe I'll entertain that. But they were very upset with me. And but I had come to an informed choice and a decision based on facts as I saw them. And we live in a representative republic, right? We're not in a democracy. Read the Constitution again this weekend. we elect people to make these decisions.
Right.
And absolutely, we should influence them. We should let them know where we stand. And we used to get constituent calls on lots of different things. But when I went no on the helmet law, some people freaked out. And they said, well, we thought you were for freedom. Well, I am. And I'm freedom for you not to break your skull and have us all pay for it. Is also part of that equation. So a lot of these issues that folks get involved in, and you got to go a little bit deeper, I guess is kind of my point here. And if you do, maybe you can find a common ground. And there was common ground there. If they could have found a way, right, to say in that legislation, okay, it's legal for you to do this, but if you have a head injury and you're not wearing a helmet, there's got to be some sort of different fund that you guys pay for,
Right.
and that the general public does not pay for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been a compromise.
Okay.
But that never materialized.
We will talk a little bit more about how to unring this bell
Ding, ding.
of social media and everything else that's influencing politics this era, this decade. But we also have to talk about news. We have our latest financial news coming up from Bloomberg. That's coming up next after a couple of messages. We have the latest world and national news from ABC, our local news, weather, sports, and a whole lot more. It's all coming up right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We'll continue this conversation right now on the video live stream. Yeah, that's so how do we unring the bell of what society has become? Because I don't see anything slowing down. Nothing slowing down. I mean, here locally, even there's people talk about the Berrien County GOP, the Republican Party, and people say, well, it doesn't operate today like it used to.
No.
So, I mean, what do we do?
We have got to find a way to get people back to the table where they can listen and find some common ground and do it in a civil manner.
How do those discussions take place, though? Because what I hear you saying is, okay, we have a conversation, Republicans, Democrats, independents, whomever, we all get together and talk it out. That can happen, but I've seen it happen a million times where, maybe not that many, but with the teams get together and then somebody from the outside who doesn't like the direction the conglomerate is going says, secret Masters of the Universe meeting, boo.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be easy. I mean, because the cat's kind of out of the bag, right? I mean, we have become very confrontational in our politics, which is unfortunate. That's not how the founders saw it.
Yeah.
So folks who like to hide behind the Constitution, that's not what they say. The Constitution is about being good, not just feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah. So who wrote this book that you're reading right now? And name it again, if you would.
Jeffrey Rosen. It's The Pursuit of Happiness. So of course the pursuit of happiness is that inalienable right that we all, aspire
life, liberty,
to,
pursuit of happiness,
and the pursuit of happiness. So it's a series of looking at the values and the character and what they were talking about as they framed the Constitution. And it goes back to the Romans and the Greeks and and the Bible and some of the writings that are there. And it's kind of fascinating. It's not an easy read. It's not something you're going to read in 1 or 2 nights. That's for sure. I'm going to plow my way through it, but it's really informative. And you kind of sit back and go, where did we start to lose it? Was it maybe the hyper partisanship that started in the 90s? Because we did get into some of that in the 90s.
The Newt Gingrich era.
This isn't new, right? I mean, this whole notion of political parties not getting along, that's not new. That's been part of our founding, and it's been part of it forever. I just think what's happened is through social media, through this just instant gratification that we all seem to have, and then we've got a whole segment of the population too. I think this just tuned it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you look at some of the polling right now, about 30% of folks identify as Republicans, 30% Democrats, 40% they say independent.
Yeah.
But it's just they've either checked out or they're part of that, what I would describe as the middle has been hollowed out. And if you look at Congress, and remember, I served with Congressman Upton, a lot of the folks that were in that realm are no longer serving. And it's this us versus them thing. And it's harder, you're right, in order to find that common ground and to get people to really try to reach some sort of compromise. And we saw, no Democrats voted for the big, beautiful bill, and no, I mean, we're just, that's not sustainable.
Yeah. It's 7:35. We're talking with Al Pscholka. He's a good friend of the WSJM, as well as a voice heard here regularly during the Lakeshore Lancers football season. You looking forward to the season?
I am. I always do, but and usually when I hit July, I start to think about it, right? I'm like, okay, who we got? We got Grand Haven in the first game. They got us last year, and who do they got coming back? They had a running back we couldn't tackle, right? So we have to go up to their place and play, and we've had some kids move away.
Okay.
So had a sophomore quarterback who broke a bunch of records, and he's now down at Mishawaka Penn, and so that definitely hurts. But you've got a lot of good athletes coming back. Kid who's the state long jump champion, and
that's pretty good.
Another kid who great athlete, Jonah Chavez, who I think they're going to try at quarterback, and so it'll be interesting. It'll be fun, and I think Coach Thompson has done a great job. He's a guy I really like because he's not just about football, but he's about making good young men and getting the team involved in community service and public service and honoring the military and all of that. And I think he's done a tremendous job with that.
Nice. Al Pscholka, thank you. We'll be back in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
I tell you, if you're missing the video live stream right now, you're missing a lot. It's Monday, July 7th. It's the WSJM Morning Show. 7:37 is the time. Temperature outside in Benton Harbor right now, it's 70 degrees under cloudy skies, 71 in St. Joseph, and 69 degrees in South Haven. Really hasn't moved much at all. We've been talking about politics. We've been talking about asteroids. Did you hear about that asteroid or the comet thing I was talking about last hour? This is the third. Only the third interstellar object that our folks have seen, astronomers have found. And they thought initially that it was like 25 miles wide.
That's the issue, is how big it is.
Yeah, right.
This would be the one instance where size does matter. And if an asteroid is 25 miles, I mean, think about hitting a 25 mile an hour target. Or 25 mile target.
Yeah.
I mean, that's from here to South Haven.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. So anyway, they don't know how big it is, but the good news is
don't
that
they all burn up before they get here?
I mean, Halley's Comet's been around for a while.
I mean, doesn't it?
Oh,
it's minuscule. There's asteroids that do land all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
But they're small.
Yeah, they're small. Most of them burn up. I mean, we're talking about in a geologic sense or the time sense, we're just a blink of a lifetime. But no, this one is way out, and it's not coming toward the Earth or anything like that. It is going to go through Mars's orbit, but probably won't threaten Mars. I think it'll be about 150 million miles away from the sun when it slingshots around. And if it even does slingshot, but it's just fascinating to me that you've got this perhaps as large as 25-mile hunk of space dust flying through at 150,000 miles an hour, coming from origins, who knows where. Sagittarius. They thought it came from Sagittarius.
Duck.
Anyway, all right. Partly cloudy skies today, a 20% chance of showers, high around 80. North winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy, winds again out of the north, high low overnight around 63. So it could be open window weather for the evening. Tuesday's forecast, partly cloudy, a 20% chance of showers tomorrow, and a high around 85 degrees. We've got sports coming up in just a minute. Tigers beat the Cleveland Guardians yesterday, 7-2. That's another sweep for Detroit, who is once again, the winningest team in Major League Baseball.
Keep saying it, brother. I would love hearing it.
They
Absolutely.
will.
Go Tigers. Bless you, boys.
Good stuff.
1984. Bless you, boys.
They will host the Tampa Bay Rays at Comerica tonight. First pitch, 6:40.
Tampa's tough.
Yeah,
That's a good team.
Yeah, you can hear it right here on WSJM. Tampa's good this year?
Yeah, no, they're coming on. They're playing better baseball. Tigers are, man, despite the injuries to the pitching staff, and I'm still a little nervous about the back end of the bullpen.
Yikes.
Man, they're playing well.
That's
I
good.
mean, to score 6 runs in the 10th, they only had 2 hits the whole game.
Wow.
And then they scored 6 runs, hit 2 homers in the 10th. Might be our year.
Yeah.
How about a Tigers Cubs series?
That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't that be great,
That'd
especially
be...
for this area?
The Cubs blanked the St. Louis Cardinals last night.
I turned that off. It was 10.
11-0 was the final.
10-0. I had to turn it off.
Why you waited all 10 runs?
I did watch them pound it out to 10-0. I'm like, okay.
And then the White Sox lost to the Colorado Rockies yesterday, 6-4. They will host the Blue Jays. We love the White Sox. It's fun.
They are kind of the lovable losers.
They
but,
are.
You know,
they are. We've got
they can't get out of their own way.
The full sports report coming up from Dave Wolf in just a couple of moments. Right now, the latest world and national news.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Rescue crews are combing through the damage left behind by a series of severe flash floods in central Texas. Over 40 people are still missing throughout the Texas Hill Country, and at least 80 people have been confirmed dead. Reagan Brown and his parents were able to escape the floodwaters and save some of their neighbors in the town of Hunt.
They were able to escape up the hill, and they got word of their neighbor being stuck in her attic, so they went over and rendered aid and got her out. She's 92 years old.
More rain is in the forecast for the region for later today, sparking fears of additional flash flooding. President Trump has signed a major disaster declaration. The president is also scheduled to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later today. It comes as Trump has been touting a potential ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas amid the ongoing war in Gaza. Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas have been taking place in Doha, Qatar in recent days. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:42, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. My special guest co-host this hour is Al Pscholka. We'll continue talking about stuff. I pulled an article that we can talk about in a few minutes about bed bugs. Bed bugs all over. There's a certain pest company that takes a look at how many calls they get for what insects, and they have a whole list from around the nation of most populated bed bug problem areas. Michigan made the list a few times.
Okay.
Well, you have to wait and find out. So that's coming up.
Okay.
You're getting itchy. You're getting itchy just hearing about
it. That's a tease. I guess it's not the poison ivy I got on my back. Okay, good.
Too much yard work. Some of the news that we have coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, a wanted fugitive. It was the 4th of July weekend, so maybe this guy had the wrong idea, but there's a wanted fugitive who was taken into custody on Friday after a volatile standoff, including multiple pipe bomb detonations. He was, in fact, according to police, he was throwing pipe bombs at police when they were trying to arrest him. Yeah, fortunately, no officers injured, and the suspect is now in custody. But we'll tell you what happened with that story up in Van Buren County. That's coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Also, the Berrien County Sheriff's Department Emergency Management Division conducting a test of the emergency alert system later this month. We don't want you to get spooked, but this will be one of those things where a lot of phones go off at the same time. That's coming up, so we'll talk about that. And then also in the news, coming up on July 15, a forum with candidates for the South Haven City Council. We'll tell you a little bit more about what that is and how you can participate. That's coming up at 8 o'clock in our news block. 7:44, WSJM Morning Show continues. Sports is coming up after a look at state news. We continue our conversation right now, talking about bed bugs with Al Pscholka.
The Michigan.
You never thought you'd get a tease like that, did you?
I didn't see that one coming. You're supposed to when you're in a hotel or motel kind of check.
Oh yeah.
On what's
the check procedure? What's your check procedure?
It's trying to get behind the headboard. I think trying to look back there. So as I understand it, they hide back there, that they can live back there.
I did the research on this. And
hopefully you're staying in a place that isn't plastered against isn't glued to the wall. You've done a little better than that.
So I did the research on how to check, because hotels is one place where they get transmitted all the time. Paris had this huge issue before the Olympics. In the year leading up to the Olympics, they were fumigating everything because the hotels in Paris, you've got worldwide travelers come in, they bring in their bed bugs, or the bed bugs are there, then they take them out. It's just a horrible problem. And so the bed bugs, they're little itty bitty critters, and they live off your blood, right? They bite you. And so they don't like light. And so what they do is they hide in like the seams. So if you know what a mattress is, you know the how it's constructed,
Right.
they've got the little seams at the thing, and then they have the little thing that folds over. You pull that back, and if you see a lot of little black specks, those are your bed bugs. And that's where you don't want to be. So that's one way to check for them. If you're in a hotel and you're like, I mean, you want to take all the sheets off, you want to look at them, but look in the areas where the light doesn't go, and just, okay, we got that. I don't know. I don't know how we survive.
Or if you stay at a place, and true story, I was driving to Florida, and we got through Atlanta, right?
Okay.
And it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and you're tired.
Yeah.
And so you're in the southern Atlanta suburbs, and you get off at Morrow, Georgia, and you get off at the hotel, and the guy tells you it's $80.
Oh.
I'm like, well, is there tax? No, it's just $80. I'm like, I was so tired. I said, here's $80.
Yeah.
Give me a key. And my wife would not sleep in that thing.
Oh,
we
no.
got in there and went, oh boy.
What'd you see?
It was not well kept.
Okay.
And it was, of course, I went to sleep. She stayed up. She stayed up the whole time, just monitoring the situation.
Oh no!
But yeah, I gotta imagine there were a few specks in there.
I remember a similar story. I was driving across country, and I was so tired because I was young, and I was trying to go as far as I could, far as I could. And it was outside of Bakersfield, California. And if you know anything about the interstates in that area, I mean, it's a mess. I mean, there's just everything kind of where this area was before you hit there. It's just every interstate in the world, it feels like, is in that one area, and traffic's not very nice, and you're tired and everything else. But I found a roadside motel.
And it's the home of Buck Owens.
And it's yes, Bakersfield is the home of Buck Owens. God rest his soul. Hee Haw, did you ever watch that?
Of course I did.
God, it's a great show. I was forced to watch it with my folks because it was on around the same time.
Gloom, despair, agony on me. Deep, dark depression,
Got it.
excessive misery.
Got it. That's very good.
If it weren't for bad luck,
man.
I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Oh, yeah, hee-haw.
For those of you left listening, no, that was really good. That was good. You're a fan. You're a fan.
Roy Clark? Buck Owens,
Roy Clark was my favorite.
Yeah.
He was funny.
He was a good guy.
Okay. And every now and again, I mean, they had the puppets on there, which it's like, okay, you got me. No, what I was talking about is Bakersfield motel, plastic around like everything in the room.
Bad sign.
That's a bad sign. But I was tired. I had to sleep. Lock the door, put up a chair up against it, and slept.
Yeah, I wanted to get to Florida to enjoy the next day. So
Yeah.
we're going to go as far as you can. And should we get a room somewhere? Nah, we'll just find one off the interstate. And the thing is, if we would have went one more exit, there was Holiday Inn Express, the Marriott, all these different ones. And I'm like, we just needed to drive another 2 miles.
So I'll start this. We may not have time to finish it here, but Orkin has put out the 2025 top 50 bed bug cities list. And we've got apparently a significant increase in bed bugs. Yeah, if bed bugs have mastered the art, they say, for 20,000 years of going unnoticed until it's too late. And again, with the travel-heavy months, they put out the list, and they say vigilance is key. You inspect your hotel rooms, your motel rooms, you inspect your luggage, because they say they attach to luggage as well. Because you put your luggage in the places, and they say, this seems like a cozy riding place. It smells like human. Let's go find that. This year's rankings based on treatment data from metro areas where Orkin performed the most bed bug treatments. It was measured from May of 2024 to May of this year, and the list includes both residential bed bug control and commercial bed bug treatments. So we'll get into that list here in just a moment on the WSJM Morning Show.
48. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Mostly cloudy skies to start today, becoming partly sunny this afternoon with high temperatures right around 80. With the wind out of the north and northwest, we'll see big waves developing through the morning hours, a high risk of rip currents. You'll see red flags at the beaches today. 63 overnight tonight, and tomorrow partly sunny, chance of rain late in the day with a high of 85. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Pscholka.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
So happy you're along for the ride on the WSJM Morning Show. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you enjoyed the fireworks. Got some sleep during some of the artillery fire that happened on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. And I think it was pretty quiet as of last night. Al Pscholka is here. He is joining me for this hour as special guest co-host, and we were talking on the video live stream a moment ago about the latest rankings on bedbug activity around the nation. Michigan made the list a few times, unfortunately. The top 50 of the list, let's see, at number 50, Syracuse, New York. Number 49, San Diego. Number 48, Lansing, Michigan.
Oh, boy.
Lansing apparently has a problem with bed bugs.
Must be the Radisson.
They went up 4 spots from last year to make the top 50 list. So Lansing's very appreciative of that. Boston is on the list. Las Vegas, Houston, Nashville. Let's see. Let's go up the list a little bit. 39 coming in at number 39 is Seattle. Then at number 38, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah, oddly enough. They've got a bed bug problem there. Toledo is on the list. Let's see, Oklahoma City, Peoria. Oh, at number 27 on the bed bug list. Number 27, South Bend. South Bend, Indiana. They went up 10 spots. So they were on the top 50 last year, but they've increased in the number of treatments required. Let's see. Also on the list, Flint, Michigan. They're at number 16. Let's see. Milwaukee, Wisconsin's on there. Champaign, Illinois.
So these are residential and commercial
commercial properties. Number 7 on the list, Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Well, they like to be in the top 10.
They are for bed bugs here, according to Orkin. Number 3 on the list, that's our is Detroit. And that rounds out our Michigan participation in the top 50 list. So again, that, you want to know number 1? Well, let's see. Number 2 is Cleveland. And number 1, bed bug treatments, not New York.
No.
Not New York. Chicago. Yeah, Chicago.
Major metro. Yeah.
So again, this year's rankings based on treatment data from metro areas where Orkin, the pest company, performed the most bed bug treatments from May of 24 to May of 25. Again, both residential bed bug control and commercial bed bug treatments. Ew.
Yeah.
Yuck. Anyway, so consult the internet for ways to inspect and then treat if you find that you have the ugly little critters. They're only like 3/16 of an inch long.
Yeah, hard to
find, but I mean, they're mostly nocturnal. They're very difficult to detect, but they are. They're basically their only food source is blood. So there you go. Ew. All right. Let's do the Moody on the Market update. Why not? It's the time for the Moody on the Market update this hour. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And on the Moody on the Market update, we talk about 3 things. We talk about business updates. We talk about life in Southwest Michigan and why we love it here. And we talk about interesting people you should know. I think we touch all 3 areas today with our Moody on the Market update in talking about Lake Michigan College with Al Pscholka. Al, you're a bigwig there. You're doing marketing, you're doing government relations, you do all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah. Tell us what are some of the fun things going on at Lake Michigan College?
Well, we're going to have something coming up. I'm going to go ahead and break the news here, right?
Sweet.
I think the news release is supposed to go out today.
Okay.
One of the things that employers have talked about is, and I'll use truck driving as an example. Truck driving, marine technician. These are programs that do not qualify for traditional financial aid. And the Lake Michigan College Foundation is setting up a $100,000 fund to fund scholarships for those activities.
That's great.
That will make a tremendous difference We've got a lot of interest in truck driving. There's a lot of openings for truck drivers. You can make up to $85,000 right out of the gate in a 3 to 6 week program. So, but it doesn't, there's no traditional financial aid. Now there will be, thanks to the donors and the board of the Lake Michigan College Foundation. So that's great. It's another way that we make an impact on the community, whether it's the Marine Tech program or some of the other short-term trainings that we're doing. But we're growing like crazy, and 30% enrollment growth this summer. Unbelievable. A lot of folks taking online courses, but we were near 1,000 students just for the summer, which is really kind of unheard of. So it's the place is growing. We've a lot of momentum. I think you've heard about some new programs in data science and aviation, in agribusiness and agriscience. We've got new short-term trainings coming out with sales and project management, working directly with employers. The apprenticeship program is growing, the Berrien Talent Collaborative.
Yeah.
So there's lots of really good momentum. And I think here's where we sell ourselves short. And I'll blame me and everybody else. When we talk about Lake Michigan College, we always talk about how affordable it is, right? And it's, it's 1/3 the cost of a university. That's true. We don't talk about the quality. And Ken, you went to a 4-year school. I went to a 4-year school. And those first couple of years, you sat in lecture halls of 400 and 500 people taught by graduate assistants or teaching assistants.
Right.
You don't get that at Lake Michigan College. Half of our faculty are PhDs. They are experienced. They are experts in their field. The faculty to student ratio is 13-1. So if you come to Lake Michigan College, that's the kind of attention. That's the kind of quality education that you get. People are starting to discover that. So in addition to the value is the quality that is there. And hats off to our faculty and the job that they do every day, being experts in their field and communicating and helping our students in a small group setting. That is making a difference. We're seeing more and more applications come in. It's good news. And I think if we're really going to get at this whole notion of population loss and workforce, it's got to start with the workforce. We've got to have a talented local workforce to attract those businesses and industries in the future. That's the mission of Lake Michigan College. People are starting to discover it, and it's kind of exciting. And guys like me need to shut up about just being affordable, but talk about how it is a quality experience that people are getting. Yeah. Our students are telling us that, and so are the enrollment.
No, it's exactly right. I mean, the quality. And in fact, just to set the record straight, I started off at a community college.
And I did spend a year at Delta College, too.
Yeah, 2 years of that, and then 2 years to finish out the 4-year degree. And my experience at the community college, it was amazing and life-forming, life-shaping.
And that's why we're being told by the market, by our students, by our prospective students, we need more housing on campus. Now, traditionally,
you've got that
we've
coming.
always been a commuter school, right?
Yeah.
Community colleges have always been a commuter school. I'm finding more and more students, even locally, saying, well, where am I going to live? Well, I want to be on campus. I don't want to be at home. I want to have a campus experience. So we got the new turf fields going in. We've got plans for a new dormitory, which will be great. We've got 200 beds, about 194 beds actually on campus now. There's a waiting list of almost 200.
That's exciting. A lot of exciting things happening.
It is, but it's kind of frustrating because you'll lose some enrollment because of that. People will say, oh, you don't have any place for me to live.
Yeah.
And we've got world-class programs like our wine and viticulture where we could attract people from across the Midwest, but we got to have the housing in order to do that.
That is an update on Lake Michigan College from Al Pscholka. Yeah. Good Moody on the Market Update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. Be right back.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
Al Pscholka, thank you for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show today. We appreciate it.
That was a fast-moving hour.
Yeah.
Boy, it really did go quick.
It goes very quick. Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
for the opportunity.
My pleasure. We will talk more with Al Pscholka in the coming days, months, weeks, especially as we get ready for Lakeshore Lancers football. It's 8 o'clock. We've got the latest world and national news now from ABC. Our local news coming up next. Thanks, Al.
From ABC News. I'm Mike Dubusky in Central Texas.